15 richest Muslim countries in the world in 2024. Most of the richest Muslim countries in the world are from Middle East, whose economy is mainly based on black gold and natural resources. Tunisia. The GDP of Tunisia is $168.93 billion and has a forecasted real GDP growth rate of 1.90% for 2024. With a GDP per capita of $13,690. Tunisia is one of the richest Muslim countries in the world. Algeria. Algeria is one of the largest Muslim countries based out of Africa. The country has a GDP of $663.39 billion and a forecasted real GDP growth rate of 3.10% for 2024. Algeria's GDP per capita of $14,230 makes it one of the richest Muslim countries in the world. Indonesia. Indonesia is one of the largest Muslim economies in the world with a GDP of 4.72 trillion. The country's projected real GDP growth rate is 5% for 2024. As of January, the GDP per capita of $16,840 ranks Indonesia among the richest Muslim countries in the world. Egypt. Egypt is one of the richest Muslim countries in the world with a GDP per capita of $17,790. Egypt has a GDP of 1.92 trillion and a projected real GDP growth rate of 3.60%. Iran. Iran ranks 11th among the richest Muslim countries in the world. Iran has a GDP of $1.81 trillion and a 2.50 projected real GDP growth rate for 2024. Libya. Libya is one of the most struggling economies in the Muslim world. Libya's real GDP growth is expected around 7.50% in 2024, with a GDP of $183.39 billion. Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is one of the fastest growing economies in Central Asia, with a projected growth rate of 4.20%. The country has a GDP of $696.9 billion and a GDP per capita of $34,480. Kazakhstan ranks among the richest Muslim countries in the world. Malaysia. Malaysia is one of the largest economies among Muslim countries. Malaysia ranks 8th among the richest Muslim countries in the world. The country has a GDP of $1.31 trillion and its real GDP is projected to grow at 4.30% in 2024, with a GDP per capita of $39,070. Oman. Oman is one of the richest Muslim countries in the world. Oman is a relatively small economy with a GDP of $210.31 billion. The country has a GDP per capita of $40,020 and a forecasted real GDP growth rate of 2.70%. Turkey. Turkey is increasing and diversifying its economic capabilities. Turkey ranks among the richest Muslim countries in the world. The country has a GDP of $3.81 trillion and a projected real GDP growth rate of 3%. Kuwait. Kuwait is an island country full of natural sources, including oil and gas, and the island country ranks 5th among the richest Muslim countries in the world. Kuwait has a GDP per capita of $54,760 and a GDP of $271.8 billion. Kuwait's forecasted real GDP growth rate is 3.60% for 2024. Bahrain. Bahrain is one of the richest Muslim countries in the world. Bahrain has a relatively small economy compared to the rest of its Arab neighbors. The country has a GDP of $101.68 billion and a projected real GDP growth rate of 3.60% for 2024, with a GDP per capita of $62,750. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is one of the richest Muslim countries in the world. Saudi Arabia is diversifying its economy through large investments in non-oil sectors. The country has a GDP of $2.39 trillion and a forecasted real GDP growth rate of 4% for 2024. United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates ranks second among the richest Muslim countries. The United Arab Emirates is one of the most developed Muslim countries in the world, with a GDP of $952.17 billion and a GDP per capita of $92,950. Qatar. Qatar is the richest Muslim country in the world. Qatar is the only Muslim country with a GDP per capita of over $100,000. The country has a GDP of $342.84 billion and a projected real GDP growth rate of 2.20%.